welcome back to Grandview Entertainment. My name is Ryan, and with us hitting the month of July, that means we are halfway through 2026. So with that being said, I'm going to go rank all the movies I've seen so far this year, from worst to best. If you could please like and subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. And without further ado, we're going to get right into the video. At number 13, I have Scream 7. Now, Scream is my favorite horror franchise, as the original movie is my favorite horror movie of all time, and I don't think up until before Scream 7 that they've ever made a bad Scream movie, and including the last one, Scream 6, is personally my second favorite Scream film, and I do really enjoy it. It was in my top 10 of 2023, and after Scream 6, I thought the franchise was in a very good spot, but unfortunately, due to a lot of behind-the-scenes drama that I won't delve too much into, obviously a lot of us know about what happened, they basically kind of changed everything up with a new cast, new directors, and everything, and in return, we got Scream 7, which just wasn't a good movie, and it seemed like after they fired Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega that they just didn't have really an interesting way to go, so instead we get Scream 7, which is a mess of a movie, and unfortunately is the first bad Scream movie, and not only is it the worst film this year, but it is, for me at least, the most disappointing film of this year as well. Now before we get into number 12, I will say the rest of these movies I think are at least solid to good to great. Scream 7 is so far for me the only movie I hated and did not enjoy this so far this year. So that being said, getting into number 12, I have Mortal Kombat 2. I overall enjoyed the first one enough. It wasn't really great. It was fine. This one I think is better than that, but at the same time, it's alright. It's enjoyable. Nothing groundbreaking by any means. Carl Urban, I liked him as Johnny Cage in this movie. And this movie was interesting, and it was good at times, but for me, it was at some points kind of forgettable, as I enjoyed it, but it was not really memorable for me. At number 11, I have Supergirl, the newest movie so far I've seen on this list, and overall, I thought Supergirl was fine. By all means, I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be, but I would still agree with most people where everyone's like, it's fine. It's not bad. It's not great, It's unfortunately, the reason why I think it's doing not so well at the box office is obviously because a lot of people aren't liking it, but also because it's one of those mediocre comic book movies, which is kind of the worst thing to be in that genre, where it has nothing that's offensively bad or really overall hugely stupid. Like, it doesn't make any big bad decisions, but it doesn't really do anything that's really big and great. I mean, there are definitely some bad moments and there's some enjoyable moments, but it doesn't really go all the way bad with any of the moments, but it surely doesn't reach all the way good. It's just fine. And I think that's sometimes the worst thing a movie can be. It's not good or bad, just fine. And that's how I would describe Supergirl. At number 10, I have Scary Movie 6. And for me, I will make this very clear. I don't think this is a bad movie. I will even say it takes a jump up from the list of Supergirl and Mortal Kombat, where I'd say those were fine. I would say this was good. But I just felt like this could have been great in a really hilarious movie. I love the original Scary Movie, and for this movie, they do tackle decent, a couple of things. I would say they tackled a couple things that were like, as the tagline of the movie was "Every line will be crossed." There was some lines they crossed, and I thought that was cool, but they just didn't do nearly enough for me with that sense. Because when they went for it and they did it and they did cross the lines, I really enjoyed it. But for me, they just didn't do it enough. So I was a little bit disappointed, but I would not say it's a bad movie. I would actually say it's a funny, good movie. It should have been better. So that's kind of where I land on Scary Movie 6. I did enjoy it, to be clear, but I was slightly disappointed that they didn't go for it more. At number 9, I have Mercy. This was the first film I saw this year with Chris Pratt. Had very low expectations. It looked like a fun enough action movie with an interesting concept, and it was exactly that. The twist, there was a good twist in the movie that At first, I didn't see it coming. I think at the end I did, but nonetheless, it was a fast-paced action movie, which I'm a big action fan. I'd say that's my favorite genre. And by all means, it's not groundbreaking. It's not changing the genre. But, does every movie have to be? I don't really think so. It's a solid action movie that, Chris Pratt's good in the movie. And it's just good action movie. It's just a good action movie with an interesting concept that, by all means, like I said, is not groundbreaking. It's not going to change the action genre, but it's a solid, fun time, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, not great by any means, but solid. It was good. Number 8 is How to Make a Killing. This is the Glen Powell movie where he finds out, he's connected to the big fortune. I forgot the family's name, but he's connected to a family that is made of a lot of money. So he starts killing off his family members so he can get closer to the fortune. And this kind of falls on the same thing with Mercy. If not, I like this one more, where it's not groundbreaking, by any means of the genre, but it's a solid movie. Glen Powell, he's been on the rise a lot. I know the past 2 movies, The Running Man and this one, weren't as well received as, like maybe Twisters or Top Gun, but I don't know. I still think this is a solid movie. Obviously, it's not great by any means, but I very much have this in the same boat as Mercy. I think maybe this is obviously I have it slightly better, but it's just a solid movie, with an interesting concept that does well. Not groundbreaking, but not bad, just good, solid. At number 7, I have The Sheep Detective. Now for me, I will say this does take a big jump from the number 8 spot. And I know a lot of people have loved this movie, and I really did like this movie. I really enjoyed it. It is a really solid movie, and it was way better than I thought it was going to be. Now, I've seen some people love it a lot more than me, and I think they would. I think my girlfriend, who I saw the movie with, liked it more than I did. But I did really enjoy it. I think for what this movie was going for, it looked like a cute premise, and it definitely exceeded those expectations for me. But not that I have really anything bad to say about it. It's just, for me, there were more movies that kind of were more my speed than The Sheep Detective that I enjoyed more. But by all means, I think this takes a huge jump in the list from number 8. It's a very funny movie. It's a very good kids movie too. And overall, it was a very big surprise. So if I were to say which movies were the most surprising, I would probably have this at number 2. We'll get into my number 1 in a little bit, but I really enjoyed The Sheep Detectives. It was really good and really entertaining. At number 6, I have The Drama. This was the movie starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson that had a very interesting premise around their wedding. And I really enjoyed it. This was a movie I was not expecting to be as bold as it was. Obviously, I didn't know the twist going into the movie, which I'm going to give a spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Drama. Spoiler alert right here. Obviously, Zendaya's character was, I believe, going to commit a school shooting. So it was a very dark spin the movie went for. But I will say, I think that worked for this movie, as it was, it seemed like a very, innocent movie at first. And then you go with this big twist. And it kind of takes the movie in a completely different direction. I think Robert Pattinson's great in the movie, as he kind of follow him the most, as he's having to deal with everybody around him and the whole reaction to himself of learning what Zendaya's character does, or almost did in the movie. Zendaya herself is really good in the movie as well, and it's another really good movie. I really enjoyed it. At number 5, we have my biggest surprise of the year so far, Obsession. Everybody is loving this movie, critics, audiences, and it's doing extremely well at the box office. And I will say I could not be happier for this movie, as it is an original movie that everyone is loving and enduring, and it's just doing really well, which makes me very happy for the state of the movie industry. And Curry Barker had an incredible story, which I believe this was written by him, and it was a great first film for him to direct. Obviously, we know the whole story, how it was made for only less than $1 million, and it's done so well, but it's also just a great movie that's really enjoyable. The leading actress who played Nikki, I can't remember the actress name off the top of my head, but she is going to have a lot of doors open, as she was incredible in this movie, and definitely I could see her taking a turn for, becoming the next up-and-coming actress. Along with, too, I think the guy who played Bear, who I also don't unfortunately remember the actor's name, sorry, but he also was really good in the movie as well. So I think we're going to see a lot more from those two actors, but I think especially her. And we're obviously going to see more from Curry Barker. I'm just very excited to see when a new face in Hollywood, debuts with a really good movie, and it's exciting to have another, new name thrown into the mix and see what they can do for, the Hollywood landscape. And like I said, I love great movies. I love original movies. I love, stories from new people, and Obsession does all those things. It's a great movie, and I really enjoyed it. And number 4, I have Toy Story 5, and this franchise is incredible. They just continue to deliver great movies outside of Lightyear, and really they deliver great family entertainment. Obviously right now, animation movies are doing really well with like Inside Out 2 and other Disney movies as well. Performing like Moana 2, I think also made $1 billion. So animation is really in the now. And it's really, important for kids' entertainment as well. Obviously, also had Across the Spider-Verse that did really well. And it's great to have more great kids' entertainment, as Toy Story 5 is that. But it's also great for the whole family and everybody. Every Toy Story film of the main 5 really just have something interesting that they want to say. They're never cash grabs. They're never, I feel ill-conceived. They're always made with intention, and they have a great story behind them. I love all 5 of them. Obviously, I think the original trilogy is the best, but even 4 I really like, and this one too. This one may be my least favorite of the 5. I don't know, I gotta watch it again, but I still love the movie. So the fact that they can just constantly deliver great movie after great movie is incredible, and this is no exception. It's just incredible what they continue to deliver. Fantastic entertainment for the whole family. At number 3, we have the Michael Jackson biopic titled Michael. I really just love this movie. Now, I do understand that some of the story elements of this film obviously are, I'm trying to look for the right word, like not as deep as they should have gone when going into a Michael Jackson biopic. I will say, obviously, you have to go in this movie understanding that it's only a part 1. And I know they did miss some things, and they did very much portray Michael Jackson in a very, great way. And, they didn't really delve much into his struggles outside of his relationship with, his father, Joe Jackson. I do understand that. But with that being said, for this movie, it didn't really bother me because it was such an entertaining story that they did show us that the story between Michael and, his father, Joe, and it really making him become an underdog, believing that he could, do it on his own, that he could change the world. And more importantly, that, it is a relationship between, a father and a son, when they, and the son trying to break free from that. But also, most importantly, it's a Michael Jackson movie. So you have all the great music hits. And I will say that's the best thing this movie does. And they do it amazingly. All the music hits from Thriller, Beat It, Bad, Billie Jean, all of them. Even when he's with the Jackson 5, all the music numbers are incredibly done. They are fantastically done. And that's what makes this movie for me so rewatchable. Obviously, it's a very well-paced movie. It's 2 hours and 7 minutes. It's paced incredibly well, and there are so many key moments you keep wanting to rewatch. And it's obviously the performances, because this does feel more like a Michael Jackson concert than a Michael Jackson movie. But at the same time, I think the story is told well enough, and it's compelling enough with, the obvious songs and the performances by Michael Jackson being incredible, and each performance being so entertaining. And Jafar Jackson was incredible, and so was Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson. So, yes, I do understand some of the flaws with the Michael movie, but I still see that there were so many amazing things that they did, and I really loved this movie, and that's why it's at number 3. At number 2, which will probably be my hottest take of this video. At number 2, I have Disclosure Day. And I know there's a lot of people like me who do like this movie a lot, but there's also a ton of people who did not like this movie. And I did get to see it again a second time, because I would say the first time I watched the movie, I was very confused how some people thought this was a terrible movie. Maybe I can understand why you didn't love it and why you didn't think it was perfect. But I was very confused at the time why people thought, they didn't like it. Rewatching it, I do understand why people didn't like it a little bit more. But at the same time, it reinsured that I really liked this movie. And it had such an interesting concept, of obviously if aliens were real, does the government have the right to cover that up? And how would people react? Would this change their life, their beliefs? And, I think obviously the journey is, in my opinion, more interesting than the ending, which I could understand why that's bothering some people more. But I think the journey is so entertaining, and I'm so intrigued the entire way through. And while I don't love the ending, I do like it and I understand it. But I do understand why after rewatching it, I do understand why some people don't like it as much as I do. And I could even understand a little bit why some people didn't like the ending and kind of ruined the movie for them. But for me, the journey was so entertaining, and I was so just into it the entire movie. And the ending for me was good enough, and I did enjoy it, but obviously it wasn't perfect. But I do like this movie a lot. I really enjoy it. And more importantly, I'm a big Steven Spielberg fan, and while I don't think this is a top 10 Spielberg movie, I still think this is a great movie, and I really, really did enjoy the movie a lot. And at number 1, Project Hail Mary. This movie is absolutely amazing. Ryan Gosling gives another great performance. Lord and Miller are really one of the most underrated directors working in the business currently, and the relationship between Ryan Gosling and Rocky is so iconic, and I think is going to last as one of the most memorable movie moments in just recent history. It's absolutely incredible. The visuals are stunning too. That's another really underrated part of this movie, is the visually. This is an amazing looking movie, and especially after seeing it in the Dolby Cinema, I saw it a couple times in theaters, it was absolutely incredible to see on the big screen. So this movie is the definition of doing a big blockbuster the right way, in my opinion. And that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for checking out this video and checking out my channel, Grandview Entertainment. As always, if you could please like and subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of exciting content on the way. More movie reviews, more movie talks, and movie ideas that I would like to share with you guys. So as always, like I said, please like and subscribe. And thank you for checking out my channel, and I will see you in the next video.